This is what the aftermath of FML looks like.
Where's the easy button? Yeah, baby.
Today's episode of In the Cave with Valley Rally Enduro is brought to you by Beta Canada, our number one choice when it comes to riding the best enduro bikes on the market today. Go to betacanada.net or your local Beta dealer to check out the latest 2022 models. Ride, race, live, Beta. It's all good in the woods. This episode is also brought to you by Sunny Hill Resort, located on the shores of beautiful Bark Lake in Barry's Bay, Ontario. Family-oriented and moto-friendly, Sunny Hill is Ontario's #1 vacation destination and boasts a full range of great amenities such as fully equipped waterfront cottages, full-service campsites, and year-round ride-in, ride-out access for dirt bikes, motorcycles, and snowmobiles. Go to sunnyhillresort.com for full pricing and availability. This episode is also brought to you by Langs Off-Road. If you are at all into enduro or trials riding here in Ontario, then you are no doubt familiar with Langs Off-Road. They are one of, if not the only, dedicated enduro and trial shop in the province, and they know their stuff. If you are in the Southern Ontario region and are an enduro or trials enthusiast like us, then you would be doing yourself a disservice by not checking out Langs Off-Road for your moto needs.
Sorry.
Well, why don't we let's restart the discussion of that bike. So the development of that beautiful motorcycle over there.
Yeah, it's a stock XR650, and as I said, the Honda. I knew that we approached Honda and said, "Hey, we're going to Dakar. It's a pretty serious effort," and they agreed. I knew guys there, and they agreed to support it with the bike and parts. And then, of course, after the finish, they leveraged it, and that was really important for me because of that was better than money.
Yeah, for sure.
It opened more doors. So I looked online and we asked people about what it would take to finish the Dakar. So you need a lot of fuel. And you need something reliability. So that's on my helmet there. It says BLAT, built like a tank. And that was my whole thing. It was designed just to finish,
Yeah, start to finish.
So I asked a lot of questions, what you needed, how many tires, how many chains. The guys were saying, well, you need a different subframe because an aluminum subframe isn't strong enough to hold up the weight of the back fuel tank and all the stuff you put on the bike. So we got a steel subframe, and if it breaks, you can get a steel welded anywhere in Africa. You can't get aluminum welded.
Right.
So you have to think that's the mentality of
Okay.
how you have to approach it. And
So it's really light.
it's not light. No, it carries about 100 pounds of fuel. Full.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of fuel, and it's I think 375 pounds. Stock or something.
Wow.
365. I don't know. It's a very heavy motorcycle.
Did you find that had any advantage or disadvantage when you were riding in certain conditions?
Well, it worked pretty well, I think, for what it was. It wasn't the best handling motorcycle full of fuel. And, I know all the little quirky things that weren't right with it, but the mission was to get to the end, and it did do it. I mean, and now I know it would have been done very differently, the reliability factor and stuff. But in the long run, it worked out well. It was, I made, were some mistakes made, and I got some misinformation that led me to make some bad decisions. But ultimately, it worked.
Well, you made it.
It made it. Yeah, that was it. It could have been a lot easier if I'd made some better decisions. But you have to look at your ego getting in the way.
Yeah.
You kind of think you have to really be careful with how cocky you feel about your decisions. And humility is very important asset in off-road, and especially in things like the Dakar or anything like that. You have to be so careful. Yeah.
And I'm assuming your motivation to get to that finish line was the first Canadian, or was it just to get to the finish line regardless?
Well, I was trying to be the first Canadian because I knew that no other Canadian had done that. So that was one of the motivation. One of them. Yeah.
Was there other Canadians in the Dakar that year?
Yeah, there was a couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Patrick Trahan was there.
He was there that year.
Yeah, Patrick. That's where I first met him. Right. I remember that story. Patrick's a good guy. He's tried a few times to go, and He was, I think he was in the year before or something like that. I don't know. Something went wrong the year before. He tried to finish too, and he didn't understand the rules or something, and he got tossed out. And then he was on a Honda as well. Honda supported him as well.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't get very far as well. You look at his bike, and it wasn't very well prepared. But he learned all the lessons. And
Right.
I was there in 2010 when he did finish in South America.
Cool.
Yeah, so he made
Competing or just there to watch?
No, he was. I was there with my race truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's another long story.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to get him on the podcast once he gets back from Dakar.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He does a lot. He's out there doing his thing and putting on events too and trying his hardest. I've
chatted with him over the years, here and there, talking about Valley Rally. I talked to him actually right at the beginning of all this stuff, and just he was. I think we had kind of gotten in touch over Facebook or something like that, and he was really interested in what Valley Rally Enduro was. And so I explained to him the original idea, and he thought it was a very ambitious idea.
Yeah,
he didn't think it was completely tenable, but he wished us the best of luck, and he said, "Keep me posted, man. This is really cool." So we've stayed in touch here and there.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. He's into it in a big way. I think he went to maybe a rally in Morocco first on a KLR with turn signals and stuff on it.
Yeah, I heard some crazy story about that, like where he just kind of bought one off the floor.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Took it over there.
He watched videos and went to the rally. But that's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Jesus, go for it.
Yeah,
and
now,
he lives a dream there.
Yeah.
When you got the bike home after Dakar, did Honda take that at all and kind of have a look at what was done and kind of was there lessons learned and maybe we can put this on a
They didn't really know there. Well, here in Canada, there isn't that much as far as product planning goes.
Right.
So, but they took the bike all over the place, to the shows and the Formula One and IndyCar. It was always on display. And for years afterwards, I was like, are you sure you still need to flog that horse?
Yeah. Maybe you could bring it home. Yeah.
But anyways, it was good for me because people like to see it, and it was a kind of interesting, odd-looking motorcycle, and it had a good story behind it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it came with that weird dude too that we always dressed up.
Oh, that guy.
Mannequin.
The mannequin, yeah.
Mannequin.
We should have him sitting here.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Honda used that. He took it all over the place.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the first year it went all over. It came back, I don't know, February. So that the following year it was in different various shows and things. But
so was it always known that it was your bike when it was done?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty much the way I cleaned it up afterwards. And
Sure.
Actually, in those days, you had to power wash it to get into the country and pay some money because they were worried about disease, from dirt and stuff.
I think that's still the case.
Yeah.
I mean, watching Lyndon go to Australia.
Oh, yeah.
He had to basically take his bike apart and clean every little piece and put it back together.
Same in Morocco. When we came back from Morocco, you had to make sure everything was super washed.
Oh, okay.
That was a crazy story. The last day in Morocco, we were all riding it back into, Fez, Morocco, where the truck, the bivouac was, the start-finish line of the whole rally, and there was a huge rainstorm, and we were frozen solid, and it was like flooding conditions.
Wow.
I remember Authority being frozen. I was worried about him.
Wow.
He got so wet. We made mistakes with jackets and stuff.
Yeah.
We have pictures of us we crossed the Atlas Mountains, right? And it was like, we were huddling in this restaurant, drinking hot tea, and I was going to buy this wool blanket from this guy. Ride with it.
Right. That's awesome.
And it was great. That was a really, really good adventure. Everybody really liked it, no matter what happened. And, it was pretty fun. We had a good group of guys that all gelled and had, we all pitched in, and it was good. I had a few minor problems, crashed and stuff, but it's part of it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's one thing about the desert. It's I love the desert. It's a beautiful environment, but at night it gets real cold.
Oh yeah.
And if it rains, it gets real cold. As soon as that sun goes away, there's nothing to hold that heat in.
Oh yeah.
And learned that firsthand out in Jordan. Did some.
Oh, you
adventures
did,
out there,
yeah.
and it's when the sun starts dropping, it's like woo.
Speaking of me, are you? Is there something like your dad's done the Dakar? Or is there something that you have in your head that you want to finish?
What, you want me to do the Dakar? He asked me, like, he sent me a text every week. He's like, can we send the truck out to the Dakar?
There's we're always thinking of something to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything like particularly in mind. I mean, ISD is a great goal for right now of how I'm progressing. Well, I mean, since I was a kid, I've always been into the Dakar because I've followed it. You know, the first one I followed was obviously Dad's, and I remember watching all the footage live. And then when Mark did the mile by mile video, we were watching it and stuff, and I was like, I remember watching that live, yeah. And then, and in the book, I have those little images I drew and that kind of followed Dad's story as he lost other guys and he kept on going by himself towards the end of the Dakar and stuff, but.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I watched women riders finish the Dakar, and Laia Sands is like one of my idols. You know, I try to just mimic her when I ride. She's
amazing, yeah.
She's so cool. And then I mean, she's doing cars now in the Dakar, which is really, really neat that she's moving that direction. So I started trying to find the other women riders. And there's this one girl, Sarah, who actually got proposed to on the podium, which I thought was
Wow.
I mean, it's so super cool. Yeah. No, her and I guess the boyfriend at the time both finished the Dakar this year, and then he proposed. So it was pretty cool to see.
Now, do you think he was waiting to see if she would finish before he was going to propose?
I mean,
she finishes, she's the one.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate test, really. Like, here's 12 days in the desert, struggling, and
is this shark going to listen to this?
I
no pressure.
All you need to do is finish Dakar.
Yeah.
You got to finish the Dakar.
There's another box all of a sudden.
Yeah, so I mean, the Dakar sounds like a cool idea. It is something to wrap your head around. Like, Dad's was 21 days, and now it's only 12 days, and it's still like, wow.
It's still a big event. It is
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not super good in the sand. I that's something I have to improve on. I've kind of made a point that I'll take some probably MX lessons on a track and stuff, and try some different terrain. To improve on that. And then the other thing is really just making the bike a little bit more geared towards me. I was listening to the girls' podcast, and I was just thinking how painful my bike can be sometimes. It's just not really geared for me at all. And I've ridden it just fine so far, but it does hinder some of my riding at certain points. So that's kind of what I'm going towards this year's kind of making it the bike exactly suited for me and the gear and stuff like that. But yeah, just, I mean, there's big goals always in with the riding and the rallying. I want to do a rally for sure. Baja would be awesome. It's a matter of getting a bike there and which one and whatnot. I've ridden all sorts of bikes, but not really any larger dirt bikes that like the 450s that would probably go. Yeah.
And what are you on right now? A 300 Circle?
No, 125.
Oh, are you 125?
I'm plugging away on the 125.
125? I thought it was bigger than that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
good for you.
riding it like as hard as I can.
You do, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be riding it next year. Well, I mean this year. I guess it's 2022 now.
It is.
So yeah, I'll be riding it and just a little bit modified and stuff. I almost went up to a 250 this year, and I just thought I'm not really done learning all the skills that I wanted on the 125. I know it's a little bit harder it's a little bit more difficult to get it over certain things, but gives me that challenge to learn exactly how.
Yeah, and then when you move up, you have a little more, you're ready for it a little bit.
Yeah, so...
It's a lot of technique too. I mean, the one thing I went down to a 200 two-stroke when I first got on them, coming from a 450 four-stroke. And one of the biggest things for me, I mean, it was nice and light, and it was basically a woods weapon. But because it was so light, you just bounce off of stuff. It's really hard to get that. You know, the nice thing about the heavier bikes is they just kind of cruise over a lot of things. So you can kind of almost take some logs head on and just go blah, blah, and run right over them. Whereas the little bikes, it's all technique. So it's a good spot to learn your technique, and then once you apply that to the big bikes, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, so that's kind of my goal. It's just applying that, learning more techniques. I mean, I rode with all sorts of different riders last summer. I mean, was my first ride OVR? Probably. Yep. I think so. So that was a wake up call. It was like, hey.
Well, it's a bit of a slap in the face sometimes. It's a tough. As much as it's an enjoyable trail ride, it's not an easy trail ride by any stretch of the imagination. But you did really well. I mean, like it's it's all about getting out there and just having fun, right? Which is
definitely a lot of fun. I mean, the first day, I ended up riding with Chris and another guy, Jay, Chris Allen, and then Jay eventually kind of let us go halfway through the day, and we kind of powered through. We're like, we're not done. We're finishing this day. We even went over like a couple of concrete blocks that we have to lifted the bikes.
Right, yeah.
Lifted the bikes over. I was like, Chris, I think we're going the wrong way. Like, I don't think like
I
all
don't
these
remember
other,
that. Yeah.
all these other guys did that. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is OVR, man. That's how it is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's us just like
Lifting
giving it
bikes.
all. Yeah, no.
Good.
Then we turned back around and did it all over again. And then I rode with the Rusty Sprockets a lot. I mean, we learned a lot from them. Dave's our Spencer and I's like moto dad, because he's always there on the trail forcing us to do things. We're like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Dave's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's pushing us and giving us tips and stuff, and always picking up the bikes and whatnot.
There was one point in OVR near Bobby Balloons, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
There's that one side hill, and we
That was
got
at
up to
fall.
Yeah.
Fall OVR. Yeah.
Yeah, fall OVR, and Dave was there. He's like, "Okay, there's your line," and you baited, but it was there was a little bit of dad yelling from the background.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a good section.
Yeah.
Ishtar's bike didn't run that day, sadly, so he was pretty bummed. But I kept going with Dave and Dimitri.
Yes, right. Yeah.
So we did the whole loop, and then Bobby Balloons at the end. Wow,
it was
what a I was trying to get up that. Well, we found the trail and we're like, seriously, is this where we're going?
Yep, that's where you're going.
And I'm the first one to attempt, I think, and then I was like wrestling a tree at one point.
Yeah.
I think I was so mad at the bike
organizers.
and like the terrain. I was just
there was talk of cutting that tree down at one point, I think, wasn't there?
Yeah, I was ripping it out of the ground. And then got the bike up there, but yeah, the lookout's the payout, and yeah, there was that one section that kind of goes past like a rock, almost like face, and there's 4 of us pushing the bikes up. It was gnarly.
Yeah.
But super fun. And then as soon as we got to the top, I was like, that's it, I'm leading, and we're going 100 miles an hour going back. I was like, I can't take the single track anymore. So we just powered through it, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was like it was a really long day.
It was a long day.
Yeah, but your events are so fun. Like I in June, it was just a blast, and then I was like, when can I come back? You know, and I was like, gotta drag Ishtar back out there. And
You were there 3 times last summer, right?
yeah. No, I love it.
Good.
It's challenging terrain. It's where I improve, and yeah, it's awesome that you guys host those events, because Dad and I hosted like adventure bike events, and I know how, the extensive work that goes into doing that and organizing and. Yeah, so it's great, and I think everyone enjoys it. And I mean, we had the same sort of feedback when we had the Overland Adventure Rally, so
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah, cool.
Speaking of the Overland Adventure Rally, is that ever gonna get off the ground again, Lawrence? Do you think?
I don't know. I'm not really super motivated to do it. Pretty busy doing other projects now, and that ran its course. We did our part. We gave people a lot of. Well, we met a lot of interesting people at that. Lyndon came, Simon came, Charlie Sinewan, just a host of really interesting people and presentations. It's a great event.
Yeah.
You could do it again. You could do it, at Sunny Hill.
Right.
You could have people come up there and camp and invite some special guests, which is the whole kind of concept. And the Mohawk Inn, which is, closed now, which is kind of brought that whole era to an end. We did those events for 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Plus the Grand Prix de Mud, Grand Prix de Snow.
Right.
They were all really good events. We probably, I don't know, it was a lot of events, and
Yeah.
a lot of work for, you don't do it for money.
No,
so
you don't.
that's not the reward. But I think that overall we entertained a lot of people. They really appreciated it. You see comments now over the years about people, mentioning that and stuff. I think we did a good job. The idea was we learned how to do things and organize events properly and integrate them into a business, and the business, the Mohawk did very, very well.
Right.
I mean, fortunately that place is now closed and for sale, which was always in their plans. But during that 7 or 8 year period, we brought a lot of business into them, and they really appreciated the motorcyclists. They are motorcycle people, and they did well. So there is that formula is a good formula for adventure riders, And we did it in Bala the last time, and it was just a low key thing.
Yeah, me and Darren showed up to that one.
Yeah, I
It was-
remember it.
it
Yeah,
was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did the tour. That was a tour. That was the tour one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was kind of also. Dad had a Husky 250 then. Thank you.
Yeah, we rode that one to Manitoulin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a cool bike. 'Cause that was a 4-stroke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was neat.
That was a long ride. Yeah, we went across in the ferry up to Manitoulin, stayed overnight, and we had a lot of people. We you can make the phone call and get some support to make it worthwhile, and it was good. Yamaha always supported that, and Honda and BMW and the dealerships. Got places like Sturgis Cycle supported it, and Dual Sport Plus, of course. Those guys are always there every single time. So
Cool.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not really motivated to do it. It's kind of been there, done that.
Yeah.
This is what I tell people all the time is I got a lot out of motorcycling, probably more than anybody in Canada. I got a lot to do, a lot of cool events and travel and race and, have a lot of fun riding motorcycles. But I think my whole goal was to put back into the sport as much as I got out. And I think I'm pretty close to being balanced now.
Yeah.
So I really don't know the sport that much.
Yeah.
As I said, my job is to be a coach and a mentor to younger people and encourage guys like you to do what you guys do, and then I'm good. I don't have anything to worry about as far as taking too much out of the sport and not putting it back.
Right.
Well, we can't thank you enough for that because you're a tremendous resource to the community. I think just knowing you and what you do is pretty amazing.
Well, we are sitting in this man cave of sorts with all these bikes. Is there one of these bikes that's your favorite, Lawrence, or that has the most memory or the most memorable one?
Well, they're carefully curated, these motorcycles. So I like the ones that you have. There's some really rare dirt bikes. This little Honda 90 here is really nice. That's a 66 Trail 90.
Cool.
That represents an era that was very important to me. When I was riding a bicycle, kids were riding those, and that's what I aspired to own. And it's an original bike. Cool. So that's pretty cool. And the CCMs are cool. All the Yamahas are really fun. The motocross bikes. I have some really rare bikes. And Triumphs, I like Triumphs, and the adventure bikes. I don't know. They're all.
What's this amazing looking build you have going on here on the stand?
Oh, that's my 58 Matchless.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
500. Yeah, that's kind of coming together. That's just some sort of crazy vision I had. So,
it looks like it's going to be amazing once it's finished.
Yeah, it's getting there. I do a little bit of work, every once in a while on them. And
well, I think the last time I was here with Darren, which was I think 3 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
It was before. It was the winter before COVID, or maybe it was right on the cusp. Anyways, we went to the motorcycle show, in downtown Toronto, and we came here afterwards, and you had just started it, I think.
Just started working on it.
Yeah, it was like just kind of the. Just kind of sussed out. It was sitting there, and I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" And it's good to see it's coming along.
That's got a lot of fabrication, machined parts and custom paint, and there's lots of little details. Like those things are just built from a box of parts, right? So it's a lot of work. We have a number of those projects underway right now. They're out in the garage. But it keeps.
So there's more bikes than what we're seeing right now.
Oh yeah, there's a few more. Yeah, there's a few more kicking around, and it's just stuff to keep busy, and keep active, and it's good. It keeps me going. Yeah, it's fun in the winter,
Yeah, for sure. Right
on. I think we covered a lot of ground, Amy. Yeah. We're gonna announce that you're gonna hit the Baja Rally in September.
I love that.
Come on.
I'm just putting the pressure on here.
I'm going to try
amazing.
we're going to try and go. I'm going to try and go.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I go, I'd usually try and rally the troops and get down there, and hopefully we can travel freely by then.
Yeah.
It's, you know, 9 months away, so let's call it that it's going to be possible to go. And
that's in September, you said?
I think it's September. I don't know if they've announced the exact dates, but it's usually September, October.
Right.
And it's a good time to go. It's not too hot or cold. It's a good, easy. It's the most accessible rally, real road book rally that you can do here in North America.
Oh, okay.
It's the easiest one. You can fly down. There'll be bike transport available, and it's relatively affordable comparatively speaking. And
Where does it start from, Lawrence?
they usually start in around Ensenada.
Yeah.
So northern Baja, it's quite easy to get there. You can fly in or drive in. You know, there's guys. Last year we had some guys from the West Coast going down, and we've done it twice now, and it's pretty good.
Would it be? Is it a team thing, or is it individual riders?
We've asked them to form a team class. So you enter your class that you want to ride, and then we'll have a team competition, and they'll give something, like some sort of accumulated. You ride it through whatever they decide. 3 riders, you accumulate your scores, and you see compared to other teams that enter. And
So who's on your team, Mia?
Chris Allen and I and Mia are going.
Yeah,
Nice.
Dad.
Team 150B, Team 150A. We'll call those guys out. It's Scott and Lance and maybe Rome or maybe Jeff Pelon. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
We'll have him on the podcast in March.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And
He's
Tim,
down there right now, I think. Or right now or very soon.
There's people all over the place. You see on Facebook or something. There's guys, but there's we'll get everybody. We'll get all our guys to. Hopefully there'll be three-person teams, and we'll get in there and get Tim and Keith and all these other experienced rally guys to go, and we'll have an internal competition if they don't make it official or something.
Right.
Yeah, you guys should come.
Yeah, we'd love
Team
to.
Valley Rally.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We're working on a Baja adventure.
Yeah.
Well,
We're thinking about it.
Well, come at the same time. You can do that too.
Yeah.
And follow along. If you don't want to enter the competition, there's all sorts of options they're going to have, I believe. And I help them. A little bit of input. Give them my thoughts on what they could do to make it bigger, better. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll get everybody. Do you guys, the 3 of you, Darren and you two, should go and just try it. And you don't. Everybody doesn't have to navigate. You just ride together.
Yeah. Right.
That's what I usually do. Sometimes, in Morocco, we were just riding the 4 of us together for the week. It was a blast.
Yeah. Yeah.
You someone to pick you up if you fall down, and we didn't take it seriously. I mean, we were taking pictures during our stages and stuff like that with guys with camels and things.
What's the ideal bike for that event, do you think?
You don't need much. Yeah, I'd ride a 250 because
really?
Yeah, be like, you don't need power.
Yeah.
Power is a
So
it's
you
a
wouldn't
liability.
ride the 1090s down and then go do the rally.
You could, yeah. I'm what I'll probably do is if I don't have a new WR250, I'm hoping I get a new 22 Yamaha. I'll ride that Tenere.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that thing ready too.
Cool.
So.
Right on.
It's super easy. You just get a road book kit. You bolt it to the handlebars and maybe a steering damper, and I don't take it. I don't really worry about the details too much. Sometimes
Just get there.
What did we do for fuel? Oh, in Morocco we rode the Enduro class where you don't have to have a big fuel tank. So they keep it. They know that they need to regenerate the field. Get new people into it, so they make it easy as possible. Ride the Enduro class. You don't need a big fuel tank. You can bolt on a road book holder onto your handlebars. Minimum investment, and then just have fun. Just ride it, and you don't need a whole bunch of stuff. So you don't have to overthink these things.
Cool.
I used to do that, and now I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't bother.
You've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have bikes down there? You transport bikes down there, or?
I think there will be bike transport. We arranged it last time too through OTSFF, which is that team. Andre Lauren has a bike transportation service. They ran the Yamaha motocross team for years here in Canada.
Right on.
So he's a desert racer, and he shipped our bikes to Morocco and stuff. It was simple. We just took them to outside Toronto.
Yep.
Put them on pallets. Saw them at the start line of the rally.
Wow.
It wasn't even that expensive when we had 8 bikes. It was one container.
Okay.
They fit into a 20-foot container, You had to give them up for a few weeks ahead of time, 6 weeks or something, but the organizers then picked them up and drove them right to the start line. So now if people are getting better organized, you don't have to go through all the hoops that we used to do.
Right.
You know, that Husky over there went to Mongolia.
Oh, that's right. You did the Mongolia rally.
We did the
too.
Mongolian rally 3 times.
That's your horn.
Yeah.
You had your little
with
squeaky horn on your
with
handlebars.
Lindens. I love that stuff. Yeah. You know, we went to the technical control, and Japanese people are pretty fastidious about the details. So you had to have a mirror and a horn,
Right.
you know, brake light and stuff. I said, in Canada, we don't deal with that stuff. We don't care that much. And so I went into the store and bought a little Mickey Mouse horn and a bicycle mirror and put it on. And I was laughing. They just laugh. They like it when, you know, someone from another country who's really very different than them.
Yeah.
You know, those guys are so serious about every detail, and you know, you don't need a mirror or horn in Mongolia. It's a wide open prairie for
exactly.
as far as you can see. But yeah, that bike, that Husky over there is an 05 250 that I went in 07 on it, and I just didn't have a bike to send. So last minute, I just ordered a fuel tank and threw that stuff on it and sent it to Mongolia. And then I was trying to sell it at the end of the race, and no one would give me any money for it. So I paid more to get it back to Canada than the bike was worth. But
Really?
Well, now it's here. So
it's
we're happy.
covered in dirt, and it's got a
Yeah,
great
it is.
story behind it. You know, so when I can't remember the stories anymore, when Mia has to change my diapers, she'll be able to tell me the story, right?
I love that the headlights just sort of zip tied in front of a fuel tank or something.
That was the last minute deal.
That's hilarious. Good.
That thing, we rode that rally with my buddy Sean, and we sent bikes there, and it was just like I'm not trying to win anything. I went previous to that 2 years before on a Honda and actually won the 250 class in that rally. So I was trying then, but this one was I'm just going for fun, riding beautiful countryside to ride, have friends there. We have so many funny stories from those guys, like stuff that you can't say on podcast kind of stuff too. But we rode that bike, and it got to the end, and at the last stage, I thought, well, you know, I've been lazing around, just enjoying it was just a trail ride, basically, you know, a ride through the countryside. And then I thought, well, maybe I can do something here. So I got on and started going fast, and there was a GPS track you could follow, like a little tiny GPS thing. Yeah. And I made a mistake and missed a waypoint, but it cut a huge section of the course off. And I thought, well, they've got to have a passage that ensures that you don't do that. But I was a bit lost, and another Japanese guy followed me, and we intersected the course and turned hard left, and we're back on the course. And we'd missed a big loop, like 20 Ks or something like that. So I'm riding along, and I'm just ripping it, and I go, wow, what luck. You know, I'm just like, you never know what's going to happen next. And Sean's following me. So that's another story. His bike quit, so he rented a bike from a guy who dropped out of the rally. So he was just riding along out of the race, but just having fun too. Right. So we were just goofing around. Yeah. So we're ripping it up, and we get to a checkpoint, and it turned out we were going really well. I was in the top 10, and then I was just okay. I don't care if it blows up. I don't care if it doesn't finish. And I was riding along, and an oil line blew off the side of the engine, an oil breather line, and it covered my boot in oil. But I didn't look down because I was kept going, you know, trying to keep up some speed. And I finally got to the end and was all feeling, you know, like I was full of myself and stuff. And I looked down and there was no engine. The oil was all over me and none in the bike. So I rode it into a gas station in Mongolia and poured a liter of oil in it, and that oil's still in that bike.
No.
I never washed the bike. Yeah, it came back. That's Mongolian dirt on it.
That's amazing.
So that's a cool story.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the wheel bearings in that particular model are very small little wheel bearings. The way it has a big fat axle and small little bearings. So I thought, at the rest, they had a half a day rest day. I'll change the wheel bearings. So I took wheel bearings with me, and I started pounding the wheel bearings out, and I just ready to hit it once, right? Smash the wheel bearings out. And I thought, maybe I'll check and see if these wheel bearings I have are the right ones to put back in. And of course, they were the wrong ones. So I was like, oh man. So, you know, little details like that, those little lessons are things that are invaluable to learn. You know, like I just wasn't taking it seriously. That bike's a stock original. I don't even think I ever changed the fork oil, and maybe I did once. I don't know. Never bothered. Yeah. Just ride it and have fun.
Cool. I love it. Yeah, there's some good stories on all these bikes. I can tell you that.
Yeah, each one has a good story to it. Some of them, there's stuff that is not for sale.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, it's just like you're going to inherit them, right, Mia?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And which one would you like the best?
Well, I don't have any stories attached to them other than the Pee-wee, but I like that flat tracker, the Jawa on the stand over there.
Oh yeah.
It's cool looking.
It is.
My dad used to have a Jawa when I was a kid. He
Oh,
used
yeah?
to take me out on it. It used to terrify me. I'd cry, and so he'd stop, and I'd go, "No, keep going." And so that was I think that was the first motorcycle I was ever on. Was a
cool.
Jawa.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen Jawas in a long time, and then a friend of mine, Savannah, Anna Heritage, started a motorcycle show called Victory Moto Show, and got Jawa to come out with brand new bikes and everything, and we're just like mesmerized. I was just like, I haven't seen one of these since literally my dad's basement, and it's like 100 years old. Yeah, it was pretty cool. You don't see them up here.
Yeah, we ran into this couple while we were riding on our trails. I don't know if we were scouting new trails or if we were cleaning up existing ones, but we came across. I think you might have been with me. Maybe it was Jay Young, but we came across this couple, and the gentleman was he's from Czech, and he's like, "Oh, you like ride the dirt bikes? I love it, the dirt bikes. I have a dirt bike." It's a terrible Czech accent, so I apologize to all my Czech friends. But
You'll be getting emails on this one.
yeah. But anyways, he's telling us about how he rides dirt bikes at home, and he's like, you've heard of the Czech dirt bikes? And I said, and he had a thick accent, so it was kind of. I'm like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, the Yawas. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh yeah, Jawas, yeah. And he's like, no, Yawa. That's how you pronounce it,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Anyways, yeah, he was all over it. He thought we were great. I think it might have been in Calabogie.
Yeah, well,
Because I think we might have been on like a trail that may have been a hiking trail,
Oh yeah.
and they were on it, but they weren't pissed at all. They were pretty cool with it.
Yeah, I have 2 in stock Jawas. Yeah, they're good. I'm a big Eastern Bloc country fan. Like I've ridden in Czech Republic twice, so it's pretty cool place.
I bet.
Oh, I meant to ask you about that. Hopefully, our recorder caught that story. But
Yeah.
when you did the Czech ISDE, was Dave Rack there with you guys?
Dave was there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
so
that. Yeah,
I was I was kind of in between jobs, and I was going in for oil at the local KTM dealer in Ottawa, Wheel Sport, and they had a help wanted sign, and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything right now, so working in a bike shop might be cool. So I kind of talked to the owner, Jim, and anyways, long story short, I ended up working the parts counter there for a bit, and Dave Rack was the KTM tech there.
Oh yeah.
And he's a growly guy. He keeps to himself, but he's he can be a little prickly if he doesn't know you, right?
Yeah.
He's so anyways, I'm the new guy, so he's just kind of like, And then one day I was asking the owner, I said, "What's the discount on the KTM gear? Because I really want that Kurt Caselli hat."
Oh,
So they had like a Kurt Caselli KTM hat, and Dave Rack just happened to be walking by, and he's like, "You know who Kurt Caselli is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, totally know who he is." He's like, "Well, I rode with him at the ISD in Czech, And I'm like, oh, "What? What?"
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You rode it anyway. So he's telling me the story that after the event, Kurt was sitting there, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go ride the hills. If any of you guys want to come with me, let's go." So Dave and a bunch of other guys rode with him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he said it was really, really cool.
Yeah, Kurt came to our event in Parry Sound.
Oh, did he?
He was a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the World Enduro Championships 2 years up there,
Right.
which is the first time they ever came out of Europe. And Kurt showed up with his dad the first year, I think, and drove all the way up there from Toronto. Just got there, checked it all out, and he went back to a dealer open house in Toronto. That's a long way, right? Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. He's a really good guy for that.
Cool.
Yeah, he had ridden the 6 days a number of times. He was a real quarterback of the American team, right? So
Yeah. From all accounts, he was a really great dude.
yeah, super highly regarded. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good stories from the 6 days. We had a lot of fun back in those days too. The travel was a lot of fun. I still in touch with some Canadian guys too that I rode with Paul Andrades, who's a former Canadian enduro champion. He still rides, and we were riding with them in the fall in the Simcoe Forest there with a bunch of guys.
Cool.
He came out, and you see all these guys. Now their kids are involved in it.
Yeah.
Connor Brogan was there. Remember that? Wayne Brogan rode the 6 days in '85 with him. Yeah, yeah. Those guys are. It was a big deal in those days, and it was. That's what what gives people the whole idea to do these events is what you read in the magazines in those days. Now it's all different because you read what
the YouTubes and
there's
the
so much more stimulation going on for different events and things. So you really have to pick and choose. But in those days, what we aspired to do is ride the 6 days and try and finish. You know, and that was. Yeah, it was quite an accomplishment. Yeah, I look at it like, in the circle of friends that we had then, it was everybody who, was their kind of thing to do.
Right.
Now it's kind of lost its luster a little bit because there's so many other things. There's extreme enduros, Romaniacs, and now Outliers coming to Alberta as an official world championship round and stuff.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
So it's where the media goes, and now you see Red Bull putting a lot of money into what they support, which is, and then the bigger audience. Naturally, what falls out is people who want to do it.
Yeah.
And the 6 days doesn't get that same exposure anymore, so it's quite a bit different. But it was a tough challenge. And,
Well, I think it still has its following, right? Like, I mean, I think especially in the KTM camp, I think like the Joseph Garcias and the name escapes me. It was that British rider they had doing the West Series for a little while. Nathan, is that his name? Anyways, him and Garcia were kind of more on that traditional enduro side, really fast. Yeah, like when they did the that French enduro circuit. It's a traditional French enduro, and they placed. I think Garcia won it because he's so quick.
There's the Trefla,
that
Lozerian,
one.
That's a kind of the iconic French enduro, special test enduros. So it's a lot like. The rules are very specific. It's against the clock during the special test, and then you have to maintain a schedule on the liaison stages, which are in between the specials, and they're fairly short specials. There would be a grass track or an enduro test through the woods and stuff like that.
And how does the 6 days differ in that format? Is it similar or is it
no? It's very, very similar. It's what we call a traditional European special test enduro. So it's speed. You don't have to timekeep or anything like that. Essentially, you have to maintain a schedule, but you don't have to, spend your time doing an average speed thing. But you go and walk the tests ahead of time. You're not allowed to ride them until you get to it, and you walk them and then try and do the best you can. And there's usually, 3 different routes. So they do day 1 and 3 would be the same route. Maybe invert the direction, and then day 2 and 4, and then 5 and 6. And 6 is usually a fairly short day. But, the event goes on whether it rains or anything, Right. So I've been in some of them that are unbelievably difficult. Like the one in Czech Republic on day 4, I was sleeping in the hotel room and I was hearing rain all night. And I thought, oh man, it's in this area where there's ski hills and stuff. And to get up in the morning and there's, an inch of snow on the cars outside. So that was a make it or break it day. And that's where a lot of people dropped out. You just slide down a hill and get covered in mud and you can't get your bike out. And then you only have a certain amount of time to lose and then you're out. So I was super careful riding that. And I know on that day, they sent us through a ski hill special test. So you got to on the top of it and rode down on a slot all the way to the bottom. Just basically your feet, like Fred Flintstone, slowing you down. I thought if I can get back up, I can finish this event because they'll never send the whole field through this event again, through that particular test. So I remember riding through this greasy, grassy ski hill, winding back and forth, and you'd be off camber, idling in first gear along the edge of the ribbon so the wheels wouldn't slide away. Because, if you slid away, you'd never get it up again. So rather than trying to go fast, just get through it. And I got to the end and then rode. And then there were only 3 of us on the Canadian team still in the running. So our rent-a-car was in the Parc Fermé. And I had all my gear in the gear bag. So and you do 2 laps. So you go around twice. At the lunch break, you have a few minutes to eat something. And I changed all my gear in my gear bag in the Parc Fermé, put all nice dry gear on and warm and felt cozy and warm and strong again. Yeah. Ate some food. And then I just got to the start of that special test at the top of the ski hill and there was not going through it.
Oh, really?
So then you have a lot of extra time because you don't have to go through that whole route.
Yeah.
And I just rode along.
With dry clothes on.
Dry clothes on and got to the finish line. and that's the kind of the mindset. But there were lots of cases where there were hills that, like I just stop and wait.
Right.
Have a quick look, maybe watch someone else go through. Because once you're on, you're losing time, you have a certain amount of time you can still lose. So I'm always aware of how much time you have. Once you're on a bronze medal, you have lots of time to take your time and make good decisions. So you have to strategize on how to finish those things when it really gets to be difficult.
Right.
And it turned into one of the most difficult days I've ever been on a motorcycle. But I've been on quite a few. There's days, that are as difficult as that. But you just had to strategize. Ultimately, if someone else can go through the route, I figure I can too. Right. It's not going to be impassable. But you got to be smart about it. Yeah. So that's where you learn from experience how to do those kinds of things.
Right on. Well, we've been chatting for some time now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Lawrence and Mia. It's been
Thank you.
awesome talking to you guys and being here in Casa Lawrence again.
Yeah, thank you for coming, making the trip out. That's great.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
I hit a tree with my face. This is what the aftermath of FML looks like.
Where's the easy button?